This time, Israel and USA has come to Iran with tactical and strategic aims. They have learned lessons from the history and they have planned it well. There were very few takers when I've been talking about a different kind of war this time. Annihilation, regime strikes, and then a very, very strategic move. That move was seen and analyzed due to certain regions. Firstly, rogue state, missile technology, uranium, dirty bomb, existential threat to Israel, death to America, previous deaths that they have seen in Gulf, Iraq, Iran, USS Robert hitting a mine while escorting a Kuwait merchant ship, 655 Iranian aircraft hit by a destroyer, many civilians killed, many more. I have so much to say about the aspects of Iraq, Iran, Kuwait war, Gulf crisis, and Strait of Hormuz. Now, Iran had attacked Qatar on the last day of previous year conflict, and then the war stopped. So-called uranium, suppressed, devastated by bombers, military might of America shown, but they stopped. Then they planned it. They brought Admiral Brad Cooper as boss of the Central Command. He's a naval officer. From 1983 till 2005, they have been generals. By the way, he's also been the Central Naval Force Commander of CENTCOM for 1 year before taking over this post, and also the boss of the Marine Forces from 2021 to 24. Surprisingly, General Austin, who was the commander of Central Command before Admiral Cooper, was also from the Marine Forces. Another point is Iranian carried out a number of amphibious landings and played war games on their coasts, on the islands, for the potential threats that they may perceive from the adversaries, namely America, and a small capturing of these areas in order to influence the Strait of Hormuz. So they were preparing for 4 years. It was planned well. Then a lot of things happened. Annihilation of naval power, visible air power, missile, drones. Caspian Sea 4th Fleet of Iran devastated on 18th, 19th March finally. It all happened later. But I have been talking on this from 1st March, almost from 28th February. Because Khamenei, when he went, he died in the evening on 28th, but by 12 o'clock, there is a message that IRGC has been given command control and Mojak defense was planted. It was brought in force. That worked. That is working right now. And Netanyahu gave a speech saying that let's activate the Northern Command, and he's actually fighting a war with Lebanon and sorting it out. Another surprising fact, very less attack has happened on Israel. The brunt of the war has been felt by UAE, maximum number of missiles. Then comes Kuwait, then Bahrain, Qatar, and 5th number is Israel, then Saudi Arabia, etc. Why this? Because UAE is going to play a major role. He's a friend of Israel and it has all the economic targets. Regime targets, command control structures, military targets, then energy targets, and then economic targets. This is how they are going on, and they are threatening each other. They are diversifying the war. President Trump is very smart. He has been talking something, doing something, taking U-turn, but he's a shatir, he's a smart khiladi, and he's playing his trumpet well, and everybody is confused. But I have been consistently trying to speak on these aspects, that there is going to be some kind of very modern, not an amphibious raid, but amphibious style of operation, air envelopment, air insertion, when there was attack on Khark, when there was attack on the missile battery by 5,000 bombers near Bandar Abbas missile battery. They have tried to almost annihilate and give a clear message to Iran that we are ready to pounce upon you. I don't call it boot on ground, I call it anchor on ground. Softening the beach, preparing for a beachhead, taking limited control of the islands, energy sectors, and the asymmetric threats that are there. They are like midget submarines, suicidal boats, high-speed boats, unmanned boats, those who can go and hit the shipping lanes and affect the shipping lanes. Mine countermeasure, they have removed Independence class of minesweepers from Bahrain, Manama base to Penang area, and they are now in Singapore, 4 of them, on 23rd of February. You can imagine that. Other minesweepers are in Japan. Japan has reorientated its Japanese force yesterday, that is on 24th of March, I think 23rd of March. Amphibious warships and all the minesweepers have been brought under one command. From 5 maritime commands, they have made it to 3 commands. And now you know why it's happening, because Japan has the best minesweepers in the world. They have experience since World War II, and they have clinched their own areas with America, and they have the best minesweepers, mine hunters. And Japan says now that he's ready to give support for minesweeping. So this is also happening. British submarine suddenly arrived in Indian Ocean. No, it's not suddenly arrived. Whatever their Prime Minister is saying, but you know what's happening. Charles de Gaulle of France, Macron visited from Cyprus on 9th of March on Charles de Gaulle. Netherlands ships are escorting it. Ford is in the area, is remaneuvered for some small mishaps. That is again a diversion. Abraham Lincoln has remaneuvered, keeping outside the range and carrying out operations with refuelers. There are more than 100 aircrafts itself in Qatar on the land base, and then 75, 80 on both the carriers, plus Charles de Gaulle. Remember, friends and my dear viewers, these carriers, these ships, when they move with some offensive intentions, and some countries send them with defensive intentions, but the role changes overnight. Because beyond 12 nautical miles, you can have innocent passage, and you can say you have come for humanitarian crisis, but you can do something else. As a warship captain, as a marine pilot, amphibious warfare, operations, special operations, aircraft carrier experience of more than almost 25 to 30 years, and planning of the induction of aircraft carrier, etc. Studying it well, as in my dissertation papers in my previous years, rapid deployment forces, air envelopments, special operations from air, waves, amphibious assault ships, their movements. We are talking about all this now. But I want to tell you that I have a view of the war, the way it has been planned, the way things are going on, the way narratives are being made by Iran. He has taken a stand of hitting the oil targets, and America is making a narrative of being good boy and saying, let Iran pass oil, let the sanction be lifted, let the people do what they want. He's actually getting the sympathy of the world and trying to control the prices. And Bahrain has gone to United Nations. European Union has condemned the attacks on energy. This thing, even Israel has been condemned by America, quietly saying that don't attack on the oil fields, South Pars, etc. So imagine these are the things which is happening, and Iran has gone into the bad books of the world by attacking the Middle East countries on the first day. And he was provoked by America because he did not remove the 40,000 people from there. He did not remove any of the visible assets, ground assets, except these ships. All the warships were removed before the war, and they were positioned in the safer areas. Now the USS Tripoli with amphibious assault capabilities, vertical takeoff and landing aircrafts, AW aircrafts, F-35B operations from them, limited carrier operations they can do, and they can launch the Marines. Tripoli has its own group, and the USS Boxer has its own group of 3 ships. Earlier, USS Bataan was already there in Indian Ocean, and giving us support for humanitarian crisis in case it arises. Houthis are sleeping. Lebanon is being devastated. Hamas is almost disseminated. So Israel is looking after his existential threats, and his targets are Iran, Caspian Sea, Tehran, and ground bases of Iran and other targets of Gulf for the strategic regions. With the Middle East, America is taken over, and they are going to do certain things on the ground. So we have to wait for the D-Day, and D-Day comes. There have been Incheon landing, there have been Normandy, there have been Falkland War, there have been limited operations. We also did a amphibious landing in Sir Creek last year. Most complicated war operations are amphibious warfare, and not a classic, but signature style, may be different, maybe in a very, very modified manner, but there would be a lot of divergence, there will be a lot of surprises, there will be a lot of force together, AWACS, AW, aircraft actually controlling the ballistic submarine, at the same time the bombers, both from the air, and then the MK-9B, even a submarine periscope, Sahid drones, smaller drones, small boats on the water will be caught by the radars of the AW aircrafts which are coming up. They are also moving here and there. Some 6 of them, 6 EB aircraft were found in Portugal landing. Refuelers for a distant attack by carriers if required. In fact, carriers are not required anymore. So a lot of thinking that carriers have been hit, or they have been sent out of war and Iran has won on them. These are all little misnomers. They have to be understood well. So there are a lot of points, whether it is planning, whether it is appointment, whether it is operations, whether it is war gaming, whether the repositioning of items, stepping slowly from one phase to another by annihilation of targets first, suppressing them, and then slowly getting a favorable situations politically and militarily both, and segregating the targets from each other, holding synergy together with Israel and America, and a good win by America diplomatically when he is not letting any Middle East countries to attack. Riyadh meeting, you can see Saudi Arabia now jumping out it, because the main role will be played by Saudi Arabia and UAE to hold the Strait of Hormuz when it comes legally. Iran will be de jure and de facto both. Probably Iran will have to leave the Hormuz once for all and just wait, because he will be caught from the neck by these capture of these islands or control of these islands, whichever way Pakistan is playing its card. He is worried. Makran coast, Sindh coast, Chawar, Gwadar the coasts, these ports, Bandar Abbas, Bandar-e-Kask, where the new oil terminal has been opened by Iran so that he can bypass the Strait of Hormuz and pump oil into the Oman, directly Oman ki khadi. You imagine ADNOC, National Oil Company of Abu Dhabi, has opened a oil pipe 400 kilometers into the Oman, and Yanabu, that the east-west pipeline of Saudi Arabia, opened into Red Sea. There have been now fuel bypassing, almost 1/4 of fuel is being actually pumped out from these alternate routes. Things are happening. That's why the oil prices will remain under control, and people are taking Red Sea route. They are going through the African coast and trying to get the logistic chain, alternate routes in their own ways and means, and they are trying to hold the pressure accordingly. Larger countries are able to cushion the effect, smaller countries are getting affected, but there is a way to get the oil out still. Having said all this, my consistent analysis of this war is revolving around the fact that there has been a very, very well planned, well pre-positioned resources, military, logistic support, political will, taking people in stride, talking something, doing something. Operation Aspects, Operation Atlanta under United Union forces had happened in 2023-24. NATO or no NATO, not required. Prosperity Guardian operation happened under US flag. All the ships carried out attacks on Houthi, offensive or defensive posturing. Our Operation Sankalp from Indian Navy is on. We are the task group commander of the 154 group from February this year. INS Mysore visited Bahrain on 18th of February, just before the war. It was known that things are going to happen. That's why a lot of advisories were issued to Iran in the embassy of Iran by India and many countries to leave. Things were heating up. People were aware, behind the curtain, and it's all planned. The D-Day has to come, and then only once for all America would be able to sustain the control of the Strait of Hormuz, and he will try to put the Gulf countries in front face and manage the way they try to manage, so that he does not play with the sentiments of the area. The Gulf geography remains same, but de facto controls may be handed over to somebody else. And this will happen because of the D-Day and because of the very, very different kind of attack, in which there will be the world will see a very new kind of war, new technology, new kind of surprises and tactics. It will be played on the waters of the Gulf, and therefore there will be there is an admiral sitting there. There will be a lot of command and control requirements. A waterborne war is very, very different. It is required to be coordinated in a very different manner. And when it happens, the world will see a new war in Gulf. Watch out for this. I have many other regions to explain, but I'll keep coming on to this and keep explaining you. Remember, one thing is very clear. When I say this from the beginning of the war. And there have been not many takers on this, but various news channels, various write-ups, various X handle or my whatever, wherever I can write it, speak it on Instagram, Facebook. I've been speaking on this tone. Kahin pe nigahein, kahin pe nishana. Deceptive techniques, surprise, movement of ships, lead time for them, behind the curtain and in the forward, things are different. Warships are moved with a lot of aircraft carriers are moved with a lot of political will, a lot of prestige, a lot of planning, and media news, narratives, and the front, the filtered news that comes to the media, to the people, may be different from what's happening. The war is in Indian Ocean, whether it is IRIS Dana, whether it is Diogarcia attack, whether it is in Cyprus, in Mediterranean, when the British base has been attacked. Iran is challenging that you have moved all these ships and assets to Cyprus. So we will attack Cyprus now. So Europe will be involved. Turkey is close by. Greece is close by. This is all going to see what's going to happen. But America wants to contain the war and wants to get it into the Gulf. And basically, strategic aim is to take over this and gift it to Middle East, whichever way. Now, I will leave it to the audience to understand how it's going to happen, but this has to happen. Negotiations, in case Iran just thinks overnight that I want to give it to you, then fine. If it doesn't give it to you, then it has to be taken over. Bye. Take care. Thank you. Jai Hind.